I'd like to turn it over to Bruce and Joanne, aka Honey Lamb, and
Honey Lamb, yeah.
take it away, you guys.
I think John Hoxie thinks she was Honey Bunny.
Okay.
All right, let's kick it off here. Sammy sent me some questions. I'm Bruce Crain. I'm from Oklahoma. That's backwards, but anyway, Enid, Oklahoma specifically. Type of aircraft I built. This aircraft originally was a tail dragger. A little history on that. A little mishap in pecan plantation, Granbury, Texas, on a 100-degree day. Had a little vapor lock and had to put it back down on a 3,200-foot runway, and ground looped it around the end to get it stopped. It went off the runway back to the end and cracked the canard on both sides. So that precipitated this Tri-Q gear, Tri-Q200. And at that time, I decided that there are not many spars left. So I decided to do the Waterloo canard. And the Waterloo canard has been flying quite a few years now. Waterloo canard and main wing doesn't have the carbon fiber spar. Anyway, it took me 7.5 years total, off and on, with the rebuild of the Tri-Q. That was about 3.5 years. Why did you decide on this design? Because it was sexy, and so is she. I think it's about the sexiest plane going, and it draws a crowd everywhere it goes. We've got a lot of new guys coming in too. I'm encouraged about that. Did I build the whole thing or complete someone else's project? I'm not at liberty to say. A few other parts. Don't have a blog. Date of first flight was April the 18th, 1997. Been 23 years. I personally have 2,600 hours of flight time. The aircraft now has 1,018 as a Tri-Q200. The Q200 had 194 hours on it. The Tri-Q now has 824. Flight time in the last 12 months has been 25, 30 hours. I still have, I have to fly Joanne out to the mountains in the RV6 so we can get more climb rate, but that's a different story. Typical cruise RPM, I get 150 to 155 statute miles an hour at 24 squared. I get 165 statute miles an hour at 2,500 RPM and 27 inches of manifold pressure. The furthest we've flown, we've been to both coasts and both borders in it. South Dakota, Galveston, we've been to, the furthest would be San Francisco. We went to the Livermore Quickie fly-in a couple of times. Been to Orange, Massachusetts at Dave's place in Orange, Massachusetts. We ate lobster. It was wonderful. And crab cakes and all kind of good stuff. He spoiled us. And a shameless plug, this was the 3rd year for the Field of Dreams here in Enid. Next year will be the 4th. So be sure and show up. It's going to be a biggie. And the most interesting flights that I've taken, trips, have been, well, of course, Air Venture. It's been about 8 or 9 or 10, 12 times. I don't know. We flew into heavy rains going one time, 2-ship with my then hangar mate who owned the RV6 that I bought. And we got in some real heavy rains, and I had it on autopilot, and the airplane started doing this. And he said, "Is that you?" I said, "Nope, it's the autopilot." So he went lead, and I was 2-ship, and I had to call for power, the turkey. Anyway, the rain came up my gear leg, main gear leg, and I didn't have it sealed off where the fairings are to fuselage, and it got up on the servo and fried it, so I had to replace that. All of the San Francisco Orange and Dragonfly events were fun. I guess the most scary experience would have been the engine out on takeoff at Granbury, Texas at vapor locked. At that time, I took the The fuel line from the header tank down to the carburetor was one line. I put a U-shape upside down U-shape and put a pump in there. And at the bottom, there's a check valve. So I can pump down to the engine. It'll check at the check on the bottom line and push pressure to the carburetor, so that if I give rides and it's hot, I'll flip that on so that it'll keep pressure to the carburetor and push the bubbles out, hopefully. Let's see, I'm not supposed to say, Honeyland told me. Let's see. Modifications, good or bad? The tri-gear, of course, I like that modification. It makes it easy to land, pretty easy to land. Roll trim, I really like that because that takes the pressure off of the autopilot servo. Originally, I had the bungee system, bungeed it over to the right or to the left, whichever way was heaviest for roll. But now I've got this, I can fly for a little while on that. I've also got rudder trim, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And I get rudder trim, roll trim, and pitch trim on the, of course, the reflexer. And when I get it flying straight and level, then I'll flip on the autopilot so there's not any pressure on it and take a nap. And the autopilot is, I'd give up a lot of stuff before I gave up the autopilot. The MT prop is wonderful. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. I can boost it up to 2,700 RPM on takeoff in the mountains and climb out just fine, except once I took off in Albuquerque, New Mexico at 5,000 feet and had to climb to 9,500 feet to get over the Sandy Mountains through the pass there. And it took a lot. I had to find a thermal, and I turned back and followed it up. But things were really getting hot. And I don't think that would have been a good scenario for two people in the cockpit at that time. So if you're flying the mountains, you need extra horsepower, you need extra RPM, you need to get off in the cool of the morning. And if not, wait till the next day. It's that critical. Altitude is exponential. Let's see. I've got an electro-air, electronic ignition on one side, and then the magneto on the other side. And I love the electro-air. It really gives the spark and advances the spark for me. And I have, like I said, the Waterloo canard, main wing and canard. I vented the fuel at the top, out the top. I'll show you that in a second. As per, I had a couple of times when I took off and the engine started to falter a little bit. And I finally figured that the line out to the bottom of the fuselage was either getting something trapped in it or it was close enough to the exit air that was getting a little bit of negative pressure. So I put that tank vent in the top so that it would pressure everything up full time. Things you would do differently if you started over, I think I would open the air inlets a little bit to the cylinders. Maybe not. I would open up the exit air to the bottom of the cowling to let more cooling air in. You got to get it out so you can get it in. Yeah, here, let me show you. There's my plenums to cool my air. Here's the inlets, and they're about that size. And these cool pretty well. And I've got, I was going to show you here on this side. I've got louvers at the top right here. And as you can see over on the other side of the aircraft, there's an exit air. There's also an inlet air down here to let the air into the oil cooler. And this is separate from the rest of the cooling on the cylinders and heads. And I think that was a friend of mine has a Lance Air, suggested that to me. While I'm down here, I want to show you what I did to the exit air. as you can see, this is my exit air now, and it's a little more bulbous. This is the old exit air, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's not. It doesn't come down as much, and it doesn't have this baffling material in here to keep the air from shooting up into here and blocking the air out of here. So here is here's the two differences. Here, babe. That's the differences in the two. This goes up higher and this goes down lower, and that sucks a lot more air through there. So the cooling is a lot better. I cruise about 325, 340, something like that on my cylinder head temperatures. And here is my, oops, sorry, here's my electronic ignition.
Is that still in production? Is that still made, Bruce?
Yes, they are. A guy named Mike Kobiak is the guy that has it. Yeah, they're actually producing a production aircraft electronic ignition too. A TCO'd, SEC'd, or however, LMNOP, and whatever you call it. The one thing that you asked me about was the electronic. I mean, excuse me, the MT propeller. This is MT, the MT propeller here, and here's the little finger that I stuck out here. This is a brush block, and you can see it has the slip rings here. I ground it down to where I could see it good. I had to get this just right on the nubbins so that the brush blocks would hit these two. You switch the electric back and forth to drive the prop back and forth. That all the wires go back into the cockpit. Here's the extension for the prop too, as per MT. Let's see, Ernest Martin was the guy that actually paved the way for me on that, so they had that already in their database. Let's go back. I'll show you the hold this a second, babe. I'll show you the head that drives it. Okay. This is the control unit. You can go to manual, or you can go to auto. If you go to manual, you can toggle up and down and make it go faster or slower to change the pitch, or you can dial it in to, I'd like to go 25-50 on takeoff and back to 24, 23 squared when I fly normally. Whenever you first turn it on, it gives you two lights, and then you're ready to go. And then whenever you do your run up, you flip it down, and then you make the prop go more course, and it's probably going course now for me. But then you come back, you put it back on auto, and it automatically comes back up, and you get a green light here, and then you're ready to go with your RPMs.
Bruce,
And
Bruce, is that actually a constant speed prop, or is it a variable pitch prop? Constant speed means you never have to touch it. It always stays the same, and variable pitch means you change it for whatever your flight condition is.
Well, the manual side, which is here, you can make it go whatever you want to do for pitch, and the auto side goes to whatever RPMs you want. So that would be the concept. Oops.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, there is there's the little thing that Paul made for me, because I had run off and left the master switch on a time or two, and so he made that. Now every time it runs off the electricity, the juice, and it a certain voltage, it gives you a low voltage. It'll go off when it's taxiing out, just because the voltage isn't as high as it's supposed to be. But anyway, it keeps me from ruining or letting my battery all the way down. Here's my reflexer right here. There's my roll trim right here. You can roll it right. I roll it left. This little hoodas is a, you can go left or right for yaw, left and right. If you need to step on the ball on the right, you just hit the right part. Step on the ball on the left, you hit the left part. There's my easy pilot, autopilot. Of course, you got course and track, and then an intercept. I would give up, like I said, a lot of things. It's just working off an old 290 or 296 GPS map that I probably need to get rid of. I also have a micro air transponder, and then I got a Garmin, what is it, 200, what is it, GT200 comm radio. There's electronic ignition here and mag here. I've got EGTCHT here. Let's see, their sight gauge, and this is the gauge for the bottom tank.
Hey, Bruce, your rudder,
yeah.
What does that switch connect to?
Here, I'll show you. Let Layla give this back to Honey Lamb, and I'm gonna go watch me pull the tail coming back. I got it sitting unbolted, and okay, everything's loose. All right. Can you bring that light over here, babe? She's going to bring a light so you can see it. Here are the cables, rudder cable connects. See that bungee? There's also a bungee on the other side. And when I first set it up, I bungeed this one tight enough to cock the rudder left, and then took this so it would make it even. And then I kind of,
we can't see that.
Oh, yeah. And then so then I put it on this little, let's see, hold this up here, babe. This little, what is it, Ray Allen Company. Oh, there we go. Ray Allen Company. You can see it's on this is the bungee cord. And this shoots in and out. It goes fast too. And you just need little bitty pushes on the deal, but it will move in and out and trim you left and right for rudder. And that's been a nice thing for when I get the thing all trimmed up, it just practically flies itself, and then the autopilot makes it better. This is a thing that Mike Dwyer sent me. I was having a little trouble with him seeing me on the transponder. This is a heavy for the heavies. It's got a flat. I didn't want to put it on the outside of the cockpit, so I just stuck it back here. You can see they can see you through the foam and fiberglass, and hooked up with the RG400 coax cable. But there's the numbers and everything from Boeing. So anyway, it's a little big, but it does a great job. I want to come back here. Well, let's see. Here is my, I can see this. This is for you guys. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Okay.
Let's see. There's the reflexer mechanism, and you can see it's going up and down. For you new guys, it's going up and down. It's cocked off to the side, and it rolls these torque tubes up and down.
Is that the factory reflexer?
Well, it was already in the fuselage when I got it, so I'm not sure. And there is my autopilot. That's the thing that got wet with the gear legs, and it hooks up to a little finger that I had welded on here, and you can move it up and down for how fast you want it, how much throw you've got. And I love that thing. It's nice. And back here, see the spider? Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
That's the ground plane, and I made it like 26 inches, and it seems to do a real good job. I had them real short for a while. I had a big plate back here once, and it was just about from here to here and here. And I read on, I think it was Sport Aviation, that this is what you need to make it at least longer than the antenna itself. The antenna is on the bottom here, I don't know. Let's see if I can get it to come in. It's there to the side. It's a bent antenna, and this just seems to work pretty well for me. Let's see. I wanted to show you my wingtips. I don't know that they give me anything. I've flown them with and without. But this is, I put this on both the main wing and the canard. This is the main wing here. But anyway, it kind of flips up on the side. I thought that looked sexy. And I like sexy. That's why I married Joanne. Honey lamb, I mean. Okay. These wheel pants are from Vans RV. The front one is Vans RV also. They're pressure recovery wheel pants, and all the attachments and things come with it. I had to reinforce the nose gear attachments a little bit. I've got cockpit heat there, which was Honey Lamb decided that, yeah, we should have that for sure. There's the entrance to the fuel tank vent to the header tank, and then it vents both because of the overflow tube going from the header tank to the bottom. Am I going too fast? I need to slow down. I'm about out of gas here.
Talk about your wings a little bit. You've got your canard, and you know what? A little bit more about this detail of adding to the wing length.
Yeah, thanks. I lost my paper. The canard and the main wing, as you can see, there's a little bit more fillet from the fuselage to the elevator, because I put 5 inches on both sides inboard, so a total of 10 inches inboard, which pushed it out 5 inches. So you've got an extra 5 inches here to put more fillet in. It's the Waterloo canard. I also put 9 inches on each wingtip. It gives me a total of 228 inches, or just about 18 feet. I don't know why. I think the only reason I put it at 18 feet was because the Dragonfly guys were at 20 feet, I believe, and we were at 16, so I just kind of split the difference. And so.
And why did you do that?
I thought maybe it would help some with my mountain flying, like when we flew to Livermore and those places, that I thought a little more wing would help there. I don't know that it did a whole lot. It probably just made it a little heavier, but it does pretty well at altitude. What's that? Oh.
And what's your takeoff and landing speed?
Takeoff right about 80 miles an hour. I'll start pulling back, and when the nose comes up, I'll push forward a little bit to keep the mains on for a little while, and then I'll pull back and it'll pop off. Come over the numbers about 100 miles an hour. I think, Cody Craig, weren't you with me the other day? And I think it was touching down about 90 miles an hour, something like that. If you get much slower with this, I should say part of the thing that probably precipitates that is this propeller weighs about 35 pounds. What's your wood propeller weigh, Sammy? You remember?
My what?
Your wood propeller? How much does it weigh? Do you remember?
7 pounds.
7, okay. So you got about 20 extra pounds with this MT propeller. So makes it a little bit nose heavy. But then when you put a heavy tri-gear on the backside, then that you take it off one end and put it on the other a little bit with that. Anyway, I've done a lot of work on the engine trying to get oil to seal up. I put the real return oil tubes for the return from the cylinder heads to the crankcase, and they've got a spring loaded deal, and I really like them. I made one mistake when I was doing that, in that I used engine oil, and they specified a certain oil that's slick, and when I used the engine oil, it hung up one of them a little bit, and I had to peck it with a long pole and a hammer to get it to seal off. So follow the instructions, right? Famous last words. I also have a B&C starter back here, and I had to cut out the part of it right here to get the solenoid to fit. And you can, I don't know, I think you can see it there, but that little BNC starter is a real hoss. It'll almost taxi with it whenever you start up. So really like that. I had a Skytech starter, and I probably shouldn't say anything negative, but I broke it. So did Jim Patillo. It wasn't it didn't last very long. So I think I had high compression cylinders at that time. I went back to the regular compression cylinders. I don't know if there's a whole lot of difference. Maybe in climb, maybe a little bit, and maybe in cruise. Let's see. Feeling. No, that's X's and Airs. I put in some bigger vents in my cockpit air because I just wasn't getting enough air into the cockpit. They were smaller. They were about half that size. And I also put in this slit under here, which worked wonderfully well. I had underneath the cockpit, let me show you here. Where'd it go? Oh, it may be hidden. Yeah, it's hidden. Anyway, I had a reverse NACA duct, and in a high angle of attack, I wasn't getting any air in the cockpit at all. So this slit on both sides, it's a low pressure area right here, and it will it'll drag some more air in and keep you cool.
Bruce, we've got about 5 minutes left here.
Okay. I'm about finished, I think. Is there anything that anybody's asked any questions or typed anything in?
I haven't seen anything yet. And
okay.
We'll get done with this 5 minutes, and we'll just go ahead and log off, and everybody can just use the same link and log right back on, and we can take it up to another.
What about your sparrow strainers, Bruce?
Oh, sparrow strainers. Well, first I'd say I like to do, let me see the picture. There's a picture behind here. These are the sparrow strainers. As you can see, they're mid-span. They're not inboard. And I had a problem whenever I'd push forward on the stick, the sparrow strainer would lose lift. And then when I put tufts on it, the tufts were coming across here and sliding back underneath the sparrow strainer when it was stalled out. So I would lose lift on the elevator, and that's not fun. But anyway, what I did was I first put zigzag tape underneath the top one here, underneath the sparrow strainer, and it was too much drag. It was dragging the elevator back and up, and it was flying up. So then I went back, and I should have approached it more cautiously. I would advise you all to approach things more cautiously than just to do it all at once. But I ended up with only about 5 little V's from that zigzag tape on the bottom of the sparrow strainer, and now it keeps the sparrow strainers from stalling out when I push over. I was doing aileron rolls, and one of the things in an aileron roll is you pull back, go up at a high angle of attack, and then you push forward, and then you mash the gear to the left or the right and spin or roll. And when I pushed forward, I didn't realize it was losing lift at that point. So anyway, that's about all I can say about that, Janny. Let's see, there was something else on the thing. I might have said something. Oh, I hope to, like I said, I hope to put some ADS-B in here, that UA Vonix that I've got. Oh, Honey Lamb's saying, show me the money, baby. Well, anyway, the UA Vonix has been in my RV6, and it's worked wonderfully well. I think Dave Dugas has got it, and I'm not sure if I think Jim Patillo did too, didn't he? But anyway, that's my baby. Are we about done, Sammy? I need to log out?
Yeah, we got 2.5 minutes to spare.
Okay, all righty. There's the box that the prop came in on the back of the airport, or the hangar there.
Bruce, what do you use for your canopy latching, just out of curiosity?
Oh, it's there it is right there. You want to go show it to us, can it? Joanne, I can get in the airplane and show you here. Let me jump in there. Just tell them, it's just about simple.
It looks substantial. And is that real alligator trim that you've got?
Wow. Okay, here we go. I'll show you how we do this now. Just pour down and one on both sides. And I'll just pull this out, pick it up, stick it in there, stick this in there against the wall, and we're latched.
Well, that canopy's not going anywhere.
No, one on the other side too. So the only thing I'm thinking, if we ever tip upside down, they're gonna have a heck of a time unlatching that thing. So that's the only drawback, but it stayed in place for all this many years. And originally we tried the thing that the lever that comes back and it hooks up and over, and that just didn't work very well for me. So we went to this. And let's give it that, baby.
All right. Well, we're on our last few seconds here, Bruce. So thanks a lot for doing this. And Joanne, thanks a lot. And we'll see you on the backside. If anybody wants to do some question and answer and stuff, we'll be here.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bruce.
Better.
I know not everybody's probably made it on yet, but have you taken off with your canopy unlatched?
Yes, I have. I've got a stop up here that stops that.
Let me turn this camera just a minute.
Oh, okay. Let me do the papers here. Can you see that inside there, Kev?
So. I mean, I get the point. I don't have one of those, Bruce. I've taken off twice with my canopy unlatched. I don't recommend it.
It doesn't go up very high, does it?
No, the trailing edge where it meets the turtle deck probably goes up 2-3 inches. But it doesn't fly well, and it scares the wee out of you, especially the first time, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
I just leveled off and pulled back on the throttle and came around and landed.
Now that you've got experience, you can say, nothing to see here, no biggie.
Well, I did it the second time with Paul Fisher leading, towing in tow, and that.
Oh yeah.
Again, it wasn't great.
You can see it's on the grommet now, so whenever I want a taxi, I can open it and put it on that grommet.
That's a nice feature.
Air conditioning in, yeah. And the top part of it catches it. Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. All right. There we are. And run this thing for me, babe. Let's see. Let's go back to Zoom. Okay, there. I figured you wanted to see our pretty faces. Yep.
You can answer questions.
Oh, okay. Anybody else got any questions? I see a new guy, Pete. Are you on there?
You bet.
There you go. Hi, Pete. Good to see you. That's
Nice
a
to see you
beautiful
as well.
bird.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Pete just bought this in California. He's coming up to the Scareport for some frights with me.
Whose airplane was that?
What?
It's Patrick Rameau had it. It was built originally by Larry Covey, C-O-V-Y, V-E-Y. It's November 8054 Yankee.
All right, sweet. Yeah, it's a good looking bird. 0200 engine.
Yes.
Where do you have it located?
Right now it's still in Gillespie, California, K-S-E-E, near San Diego. And it's being put back together, and then I'll be bringing it back.
Back to where?
Georgetown, Texas, sorry.
Okay.
That's what it looks like at this moment.
All right.
All right. Nice. It's a pretty bird. We're getting a lot of new guys, Sammy. That's encouraging, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You bet.
I just
All
hope
right.
they listen to us.
What, yeah, that's true. Whether you buy it or build it, we're building the livery, building the herd.
Absolutely. How many of these are out there? How many Tri-Qs are out there?
That's a
Oh
good
boy,
question.
Sammy, you know?
No,
I don't know.
no.
What's your list say, Sam? I looked all over Tarnation for that list I was talking about, Sam.
Well,
And I could not find it.
everything from Yahoo is gone now. They've
Well,
all that.
I don't think it was in Yahoo. I think it was in a past newsletter. I sat here one night for 4 hours looking through past newsletters, which was really fun. But I still didn't find. We used to have a roster of everybody, when they had their plane,
Right.
when they first flew it,
Yeah.
the engine, the speeds, everything, and it would have people that are probably deceased at this point, but still, it had a whole load of people on there, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
16, 17.
I don't know. Our numbers have increased over the years with the tricycle gear. It just took a while for us to get them done, I guess, didn't it, Kev?
Yeah,
We've got
Yeah.
22 people
Yep.
on the current list here that I'm restarted. So whatever that means.
how many again, Sam?
22.
Okay.
But that's, there's all sorts of people that aren't even in the queue list world.
Well, I listened a bunch to Sam the other night. I don't think that Dave McConaughey is probably on that list, is he? Or did he chime in?
No.
Oh, I caught him one day at Cushing, Oklahoma, at a fly-in down there, and I just looked up and there was a quickie. And I looked over and here's this guy with his I'm putting it on the airplane. I looked over and I thought, oh, that's Dave McConaughey, and I hadn't seen him since like '95 or so. He gave me my first ride in a quickie, and we ended up off the runway and hit a runway light.
Oh,
But
shoot.
anyway, he's still going. He's got a RevMaster engine, and he's from eastern Oklahoma, and he came back to the fly-in this year too. You met him. So anyway, he's got a sweet running little RevMaster engine, Volkswagen, and he and Dave hooked up.
And that,
Hey, Bruce, did you, what spinner did you use with your MT prop? I noticed that's not the AN1 that most of us have.
Well, that came from MT. That was right out of the box. They did it for me at MT, so that took a lot of time off.
well, I guess.
And it's tough. It's fiberglass, and it's been on there 800 and some hours, I guess.
Nice.
So, yep. So, yeah, yep. But anyway, we've just had a blast with this airplane in lots of places.
What do you have for, let's see your fuel filler setup, your gas cap?
Oh, yeah. It's
Because
just,
they're all different for everybody.
yeah, it's just for plans. It just, this is something I picked up and plagiarized from you, Sammy, and then I put this in there from the kitchen sink. Is what I think I got that for you. I floxed it in because the original one had a cap on it from the, I believe the epoxy, and it cracked, and that's not a good thing to have a crack in a low pressure area like this.
No, we have kind of a quickie AD out on those things to throw them away. Yeah.
Yeah, throw them away. You got to make hard decisions, and that's a hard decision, but it's one that you won't regret, and one that you will regret if it cracks and you get low pressure pulling your fuel out the cap, or at least the pressure off anyway, because there's not a lot of head pressure in this airplane from the fuel tank, header tank to the engine. So you can't really afford to lose any pressurization from your fuel pressure anyway. Anything else that I didn't touch?
Did you wash it and wax it for this presentation?
Yeah, what?
Did you wash it and wax it for this presentation?
No, there's a couple of bugs right there. Can you see them?
Oh, shame on you.
Yeah, I did get all the dust off the top the other day, but now it's kind of back. It's dusty in Oklahoma. So yeah, yep, did the best I could, but no waxing. I haven't waxed it for years. After doing all that sanding, you want to save the rotator cuffs.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. So, yep. One thing that I did do of course, I've had unusual things to have to do with my sparrow strainers, but when I first got it flying, this was all rough. I hadn't finished it yet. The surfaces were rough, and it would fly up, and the elevator would end up here, instead of in trail, and I'd have to pull back on the stick. I had the bungee roll trim at that time, and so I put a kicker on the back here that kicked up in the air all the way across the back here, just an upside down flap, and it pulled it back down. And so then I flew it with that for a while, and I actually had to sand off both sides a little bit to get it finally tuned in. I finally got it tuned in, and then I filled this the weave and stuff, and then it was too much pressure down, and so I sanded off more on this kicker back here. You can't see it now, but it's only got just barely a little bit of a roll right here. But anyway, then I filled it, then I primed it, and it was even better. And then I finally painted it, and it was coming down more. So then I had to sand off more of the kicker on the back. Well, when I finally finished, it's all said and done, I was able to do away with the bungee system, and it flies in trail pretty much with the fillets on the end without any trim. So there is no bungee trim. It just freewheels, and this sparrow strainers are what gives it it's set for cruise is what it's set for. And with the reflexer, nose up and nose down is pretty easy and pretty strong actually. So close this off here. I'll shut up. Anybody else got any questions?
I have a simple question because I'm, like I say, brand new at this, just trying to figure this out. On that fuel cap, you have the, obviously the cap right there and the cover. If you'd put a small tube facing forward, inlet, kind of like your vent, would that have not corrected the low pressure area underneath, like you have on your fuel vent up on top of your cowling?
There might. Do you mean put a tube coming out into the air going forward with this cap? You mean?
Yes.
Kind of like an aeronica or something. The way they do those.
I don't know of anybody else. Sorry, I haven't flown a little airplane in 30 years.
Oh, okay.
The plans for this call for a ram air tube to come out of the bottom of the fuselage facing forward. I think that might be the 200 plans addendum on there. And some guys like Bruce have put them off of the top. And that's like that. And you do have to have some sort of a ram air vent that's going on. And I'm not, Bruce, why did you choose to take it out the top rather than the bottom? Just out of curiosity.
Well, just after the scare of the engine slowing down in flight, after 20 minutes of flight or so, I knew something was going on the bottom, but I didn't know what it was. And so I figured the best thing to do was raise this up and off away from the low pressure area on top here, get it into the wind. There was some conjecture. I think Charlie Johnson may have said something about the tube coming out the bottom of the fuselage, the placement of that and how far down it needs to go, needs to be away from any low pressure. You would think there'd be high pressure under the bottom of the aircraft fuselage, but when you're coming out of the cowling, the bottom, the exit area on the cowling, there is a low pressure area around that coming out of that. There's actually, the bottom of your cowling is low pressure. The top or my plenums are high pressure, and that low pressure comes out the back of the cowling. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get the air out and put it in. So the placement of my tube down the bottom either was trapping fuel in it, it was overflowing into that and getting down in there and stopping up, or that low pressure area under there was might have been, I think Kevin Boddicker, didn't you put yours down about 6 inches or so, or maybe 10 inches or so into the wind? Does that sound like what you did?
Yeah, I did originally, Bruce. It was down there 8, 9, 10 inches. And then, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, I went to go flying one day, and during the pre-flight inspection, I looked underneath there, and the ram air tube was supposed to be pointed into the wind, was pointed at the floor.
Oh,
And
shoot.
one of the neighbor's dogs from a neighboring hangar, the dog had run underneeth there and hit it and bent it 90 degrees.
Did you shoot the dog?
No, I couldn't prove it, so I just let it go. It wouldn't have made any difference either way. But I put a new tube in at that point, and I did make it so it doesn't hang down quite as far. Now it goes about 4 or 5 inches down and points forward.
That's what mine was. That's about 4
To
inches,
date-
I believe.
To date, I've not had any problem with it. One other time, it was in the winter. I was going to meet Fisher for lunch somewhere, I think Independence, Iowa. And on climb out, I would lose RPM. I'd nose it over and pick up the RPM I'd lost. So I'd use a real shallow climb. And when I did the balloon test, I worked, we took the carb off, we did all kinds of crazy stuff. And finally, I put everything all back together. And what's wrong with this thing? I just kind of laying underneath there looking, and the tube had bent up a little bit on the front, rather than going square into the wind. And when you had a high angle of attack, the wind was burbling over that end of that pipe rather than pressurizing it. I bent that thing down about a half, 3/4 of an inch. Worked fine.
Okay.
But you always got to, go through the whole routine before you find the problem.
Here's the exit on the cowling. This low pressure has got to come back around here somewhere in order to get out of the cowling and move on. Then the high pressure at some point comes back towards the fuselage and sloughs off in the back of the fuselage. So what Kevin and I were experiencing was maybe this low pressure area getting back to the tube, which was right over here, and it went forward. And so that's all I can think of. Kevin and I and Sam all have that. Oops, ouch. Sam, did you have any negative experiences with it, or did you put yours that way in the first place?
But then, I've got a tail dragger. I don't have that landing gear hanging down in front,
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I've kind of tried to bend mine off the side just a little bit for that landing gear. Looking from the front, you can see it. I don't know if that helps, but it seems to work.
but Pete,
Yeah.
Pete Stein, whatever configuration your aircraft has, how much time is on that aircraft,
I believe it's about 55 hours.
Oh, that's not too much. But, if he's got a system that's working on there, I wouldn't go changing it until you decide you need to,
Okay. When I looked on the plans for the quickie plans, it looks like that tube is about, I thought it was station 34 or something like that, out on the canard. So it's out about even with where the gear aligns. So it's about maybe 1.5 feet out is where that tube is. Where's your pitot tube on this aircraft?
Should be about the same place. Mine's
No. Well, mine is actually out here on the end of the wing.
Okay. Is that heated?
No. Nope.
Spoken like a
Nope.
true jet driver, isn't he? That's good.
Yep. That's where my pitot tube is.
My
no.
pitot tube comes down out of the fuselage, down the back of the elevator slot core, and then they put a hole through the bottom of the slot core and brought it forward just a little ways, and then built it, backed it like what Bruce's air vent on the top is. Filled that all in, so you don't just have a tube hanging out there, it's supported with all that structure, like Bruce's vent there. But that's how my pitot tube is.
You say it's outboard of your fillet? Did you say it's outboard of your fillet there, Kevin?
Way out, Bruce. It's
Oh,
out
okay.
past, it's out. Stop right there. It would be
Okay.
between your tire and your sparrow strainer and then going out the bottom.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're good. You're good.
That's about what I saw for 2 tubes on the quickie that I'm getting. I'm
Okay.
presuming, based on what you've said, that one of them is the fuel vent and the other is probably the pitot tube.
Yeah, the pitot tube is probably the one that's further out on the wing, my guess, but it's easy to follow or easy to track, you know,
Okay.
the plumbing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So, Pete, did that aircraft fly from Florida to California? Did they trailer it? Do you know?
It flew.
Okay. Well, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
If it flew that far, and through the mountains, oh my gosh! Wow. Be sure you take off in the morning, unless
Okay.
it's icy. But that'll give you an extra margin
So
for sure.
I might have missed it. You're going to go out and fly with Bruce, Pete?
Yes, I'm going to head up to Bruce in, I guess it's a week and a half, 2 weeks,
Cool.
and fly with
That's
him
good.
for just a bit to get familiar with it, and then I'll go out and pick up this aircraft and fly it back.
Taxi the hell out of it before you start flying it. Even though
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
even though it's a nose gear.
Oh yeah.
Pete's got a lot of time in heavies and warbirds and all kind of stuff, don't you, Pete?
Yep, I've got about 22,000 total time, but I think 21,850 of that is high performance turbine.
All right. I wish I had a turbine on this thing.
You have to put Honeyland back to work.
Yeah, that's true. Well, she's just part-time right now. We need to get her retired. So that probably ain't
Yeah.
gonna happen.
The challenge with the turbine there is you'd need 20 gallons of fuel. You'd have about 20 minutes of flight time.
No. Yeah. Yep, true. By the pounds instead of the gallons.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, anybody else got questions? I need to put a stripe on this thing, don't I?
Strap on what?
I need to put a stripe down the side here or something, or
Stripe.
down the
Yeah, it
middle.
does look a little naked.
Yeah, it's generic. Yep, I'm afraid to touch it.
Well, gentlemen,
I get me a 2-inch brush and come out and help you.
A what? Oh, a brush.
I get me a 2-inch brush, come out and help you.
Would you help me? You're not originally from Iowa, are you?
Yeah,
Oh, are you? Okay.
yeah, for sure.
You must have moseyed down here a time or two.
They chase me out every time.
Yeah, we're kind of particular. Yep.
gentlemen, I have to actually go to another meeting, so I would thank you very much, and very much a pleasure meeting all of you, and look forward to flying with you guys.
All right.
Yeah,
Sounds
good to see you, Pete. Good to put the face with the voice.
Alrighty. Well, thank you.
You bet. You betcha. Yep. Well, any other questions that we didn't answer?
I think that answers your question, Bruce.
I guess so. Everybody went to breakfast.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for doing this,
Honeyland.
Sammy. It's really, yeah, you betcha. Thanks for doing this, Sammy. I can't say enough about what you're doing. It helps. It makes a lot of sense and gives guys things to look at, things to think about. And,
Yeah,
the newbies especially.
I hope that we have a good archive, over the years, as we can build this thing
Yeah.
up. A lot of good reasons for it, I think. All right, everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
We're signing off.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.
See you,
Thanks for
Joanne.
coming. It's been
Thank
fun.
you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.